Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tech About Town podcast brought to you by Communitech. My name is Alex Kinsella.
And my name is Tina Sucevic.
Tina is our special guest host today.
Woo-hoo.
Sasha's on well-deserved holiday. I saw an Instagram post from her. I don't know where she is, but it looks nice.
Me neither.
I could have read the description, but
Yeah. I don't know where she is either, but I hope she's having fun.
It looked like she was having fun.
Yeah. Kind of jealous. Not gonna lie.
I need a vacation.
Me too. Even though I took some, but you
travel a lot.
I do travel, but you can always travel more. You know.
You can always travel more. Where was the last place you went?
Mexico.
I've actually never been.
What?
I know.
No,
weird.
Okay, but up until I just went to Mexico, I've never been either. So
yeah, it's weird when you live near places and you never go, because I've lived here, but I've lived here for 20 years. I've never been to like Thunder Bay.
Yeah, true. Me neither. That's actually very true.
One of my
one of my friends works at Queen's Park, and she's just always traveling around Ontario, and she knows all these like little places, little towns and cities, and it's really cool.
Well, hey, if you're listening to this and you're not in Waterloo Region, our friends at Explore Waterloo Region would really have some great recommendations for you to visit town and check out some festivals. It's a good shout out for them.
It is.
They might appreciate it.
Yeah.
They will appreciate it.
For sure.
So today's episode is a little special. We have two guests. Neither of them are in our studio. So we have Kara Leblanc, who is the founder and CEO of MedReddi, and she's coming to us all the way from St. John, New Brunswick. And we also have Karimian, who is from Google for Startups Accelerator Program, and she is in Toronto, though she was supposed to be in Montreal, and then there's a storm today. So if you're listening to this, there was like a storm in July that was. So we have Kara Leblanc, who is the founder and CEO of MedReddi, and she's coming to us all the way from St. John, Startups Accelerator Program, and she is in Toronto, though she was supposed to be in Montreal, and then there's a storm today. So if you're listening to this, there was like a storm in July that was pretty bad, and everything's flooded.
Oh, whoa.
So her flight got canceled, and she was able to actually do it from Toronto and not Montreal, which it worked out in the end. Yeah. So what's interesting about this one, again, Kara is the CEO of MedReddi. They just announced a nice little seed round or pre-seed round. And then they were a member of the Google for Startups Accelerator Program. They're also Fierce Founders alumna.
Yes.
Alum? I always get this alum.
I
thought we all say alum now instead of saying.
Really?
I think that's a thing.
Oh, man. I should know this, too, because I might have to mention it sometime in social media.
Let's go with alum. They're a Fierce Founders alum, which is always great because we love our Fierce Founders alums. They actually do, when was the last alumni, can't even get it right, alum reunion? Was it the Tea Party?
Yeah, it was last year, October 2023 at Techtoberfest. It was honestly amazing.
It's a good event.
Yeah.
Well, let's welcome Kara and Aran to the show. Welcome to the Tech About Town podcast.
Thanks so much. Happy to be here.
Can you introduce yourselves?
Okay, great. Sure. So I'm Kara Leblanc, the founder and CEO of MedReddi, and we're a B2B SaaS healthcare AI platform. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
My name's Karimian. I'm the head of Google Canada's Startup and Accelerator Ecosystem efforts. In my role, I get to work with incredible Canadian startups through our Google for Startups Accelerator Program and through some of our other initiatives and partnerships with the ecosystem, but really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We're so excited to have you. So let's start off. Kara, we wanted to ask you, you just announced some really exciting news. So why don't you tell us about your funding round and what it means for the growth of MedReddi?
Absolutely. Yes, we're so excited and thrilled to announce that we've closed our pre-seed funding round. This has been certainly a huge milestone for our team, and we're really fortunate to have amazing investors and support in the ecosystem as we grow and scale. So we just closed out a $782,000 pre-seed round, and we have support from the Firehood and BDC Thrive Labs and Forum Ventures and New Brunswick Innovation Foundation, as well as some government grants. So we're really excited about this next phase.
Well, and you were part of the Google for Startups Accelerator Program. Can you tell us a little bit of that experience?
Absolutely. It was transformational for us, and I still am pinching myself that we had that opportunity to be part of Google for Startups. We just finished their cohort at the end of May, actually, and it was an amazing experience. They helped us with everything from business development and marketing to UX UI design, and incorporating diversity and inclusion into your design processes and scalability globally, as well as real hands-on technical workshops and feedback that we were able to receive. We also were able to leverage their incredible artificial intelligence models with Vertex AI, if the large language model families, including the medical large language model, which was really important to us as we are working in the healthcare space. So that in and of itself was really helpful to help us scale our platform and get access to kind of cutting edge technology.
Can you tell us a little bit about the problem and how you're solving it?
Yeah. So with our solution, like, we're really helping in the healthcare supply chain. So we're identifying different suppliers that exist in the market that sell various products, services, and software and innovations. And we're also generating due diligence questions and requirements and evaluation criteria that one may want to consider when they're about to buy a technology. Anything from medical devices to large equipment to software. And this is a space I worked in for almost over 15 years now, and studied it internationally in grad school, and just realized this is a global problem. Like how procurement is undertaken in the healthcare system is outdated and a highly manual intensive process. And there hasn't been a lot of technology applied to any of that front end of the research, planning, discovery, and generation of potential evaluation criteria in a fair and equitable manner. And I really felt that AI could play a huge role in streamlining that for buyers, and buyers being, anyone from a hospital, shared service organizations, dental service organizations, group purchasing organizations, at a global scale. And so over the past several years, like we did a lot of intensive prototyping, research, user research interviews on both sides of the market to build, those initial prototypes, understand what the cost would be associated with it, secure funding, and we really bootstrapped up until last fall when we won that Elevate pitch competition. So that really set everything off for us to launch our pre-seed round of funding, actually.
Do you see any differences in procurement in the US versus Canada?
Yeah, there are differences in that they have the private healthcare system. There's a private and public healthcare system. They do have state-owned hospitals and are required to do some public tenders. But even for direct purchases or private purchases, they also have a similar research, planning, discovery, business case development process that they have to go through before buying something. So they actually have a lot of similar trends and I would say processes as Canada or the UK when they're looking to plan, any kind of life cycle replacement or new innovations to adopt.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, I know here we have a fast track health program, and procurement obviously comes up a lot in that. When you were doing for demo day, like, how did that go? And like, what was your kind of feedback and your experience in that as you presented MedReddi?
Yeah, that was a great experience. So through Google, like we were able to get access to so many great mentors that helped us refine our story and synthesize it and capture it for demo day. And we were able to leverage both, obviously the pitch presentation, but also a live demo as part of that. And there's a lot that goes into those presentations, and Google was really instrumental in supporting us the entire way.
So, Iran, the GFSA has been running in Canada for 5 years now, right? Can you tell us a bit about the program and how the last 5 years have kind of gone?
Yeah, of course. And before I do, I just want to give a really big shout out to Kara and her team at MedReddie. I think like every time we connect, there's a new big win and accomplishment, and what they're doing is so important and so innovative. So just want to start by giving them a huge kudos. I think what you guys are doing is incredible. The Google for Startups Accelerator program has been running for 5 years now. We launched these programs in Canada in 2020, following many other global regions. These accelerators run in over 19 regions globally. And really our intention is to provide access to the best of Google's programs, products, people, and technology to, help startups then go on to build great products and services for their communities. All of our accelerator programs are equity free, and we customize the 10 weeks really for the group of startups that we're working with for that cohort. So no program looks identical. We really want to make sure it's custom to the group that we're supporting. It's a mix of in-person and virtual programming, and we're really well suited to support high potential seed to Series A revenue generating technology startups that are building with AI and machine learning. Kara touched on this a little bit already, but in addition to the mentorship and technical support that we provide on topics such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, data, we also support on other sides of the business, such as, product and design, growth, sales, marketing, people in leadership, all of that to support the development of founders. And we really love keeping in touch and providing support to founders beyond the 10-week program. So we offer continuous support through our alumni network, where these companies that have graduated our programs receive ongoing access to our team, ongoing access to Google mentors. So at any time, they can schedule time with a Google expert to tackle any of their current challenges, exclusive invites to Google industry events, and so much more. So, we love keeping in touch with our alumni, and I'm really proud to share that we've graduated over 100 Canadian startups since 2020 who are now in our alumni community. They are from different industries, different provinces, but all of them have really incredible ideas and a desire to scale their businesses here in Canada. These companies have gone on to raise more than 395 million Canadian dollars and have created more than 900 new jobs since leaving the program. And we're really, really so thrilled by the success. That's a little bit about the program, and really just feel so grateful that we can support Canadian startups through this initiative.
Well, it's amazing support for Canadian startups, and those numbers are very, very impressive. What was interesting when we were prepping for it, MedReddie's an interesting one because it's a Canadian startup that's kind of spread between here in Waterloo and out east. So Kara, can you just tell us a little bit about like how you manage that, right? Because remote work and hybrid teams and distributed teams, are kind of part of the landscape now. But how do you manage a Canadian startup that is headquartered in one place and a team is in another?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your kind words, Iran. And I feel, likewise, we're so grateful to work with you and your team. It is a different time where people can work from anywhere. And when I first incorporated the company, when I first had this idea, I really felt like, and I'd always heard about Waterloo, and it's just the tech hub of Canada. It's leading edge, and there's so much happening there. And I, at the time, I had reached out to a couple of accelerators and was lucky enough to be part of, the Accelerator Center and Communitech with Fierce Founders Bootcamp, and had registered there. And then I had since got additional registration in New Brunswick because that's where I am personally based. But through the connections and the relationships that I developed in the Waterloo tech ecosystem, I was able to tap into different talent and other partnerships. Like we formed a really strong partnership with the University of Waterloo and their data science and artificial intelligence programming and co-op programs have been so incredibly helpful to us. we learned so much from the students, and we've actually since recruited. Our data scientist is actually a graduate from University of Waterloo from their master's in AI and machine learning. So he's with us full time and has been a game changer. So it's those the networks, the relationships that are developed and nurtured are incredibly important. And so I certainly do travel there on a regular basis, but yeah, a lot of our work is done hybrid and online, like a lot of things are these days. But it was at the height of COVID, so I think at the time it was more common, right? That was starting to happen. Yeah.
And like as your team has grown now, and the business has grown, like have you had to adapt any like processes or workflows, or kind of how do you kind of go about, and especially with funding now too, like it's going to help hopefully accelerate growth. How do you take those learnings back in and kind of help with any like the hiccups that happen as a company grows?
Sure. I think, it's all about communication. And so there's regular touch points, and agile processes that we apply on a daily, weekly, and biweekly basis to ensure that there's alignment in the team to share ideas and updates or concerns and any risks. And so we're very much aligned and in tune with that and make time for it. So that's the biggest part, is that communication piece. And then, prioritization on what our roadmap and milestones look like and what are we targeting, and making sure that we're working towards achieving those goals. So between that and an alignment of funding that we have available to reach those milestones is really kind of key to that incremental growth, right?
No, it's interesting. Do you find like with that growth, going back to what Ron said about the alumni network, right? That's such an important piece of an accelerator program. And it sounds like with over 100 members now in the Google for Startups Accelerator alumni network, you probably have access to a lot of people who have been there and done that. Have you been able to tap into that?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And that's another part that's been amazing about this program. When we ask for support or ideas from, Irene and her amazing team on who could we speak to in the healthcare space at Google, or in computer science, or product management and development, or UX UI, there's always that connection that's made because it's just such a supportive culture and environment. They're really there to help you succeed and grow. And we've been able to tap into that talent to learn from them and listen from their experiences and apply that as we make refinements to our solution.
And kind of on that same vein, then, when you're talking about like matching experts, and whether they're AI experts or cloud experts with founders, what's the process for that, to finding that right match? Because you obviously with Google have, a pretty big collection of experts across a variety of domains. How do you go about finding those right people to match with founders?
Yeah. Google's is a really unique place where we really believe in community contribution and supporting with, 20% projects that are outside of your core role. So thankfully, through that, embedded kind of company culture that we have, my team was able to set up an employee resource group called Googlers for Startups, where essentially, we put a call out to Google's, folks at Google across a variety of product areas, and just say, like, here's a volunteer opportunity. These are the opportunities and the programs that we have throughout the year. These are the type of startups you'll be working with. Sign up here. And so since 2020, we've grown that network to over 500 folks at Google who are experts in, their specific product areas, that come back year over year, program after program, to support startups because they're just so passionate and they love it so much, and they get a lot back from it as well. We've heard a lot of positive feedback about their experience. So it really starts with us just, knowing who these mentors are, asking all the right questions, what's your expertise, what's your bio, and just trying to connect the dots that way. It is sometimes a bit of a manual effort, but we make it work. We also do have a mentorship booking platform, which is a self-serve option for the startups that are in our cohort, the startups that are in our alumni community, so they can go into this platform and really just browse and see, based on their challenge and based on the type of topic that they're looking for support in, they can find the right person that matches their skill set, matches with that skill set. And then outside of that, like I always say this to startups that I work with, no ask is too big or too small. If there isn't a Google expert in our directory that, sounds like they can help you, send us an email, make it as detailed as possible. What is the challenge? What is your desired outcome? And like, we will do our best to tap into all of our personal networks within the product areas that we work really closely with, of course, Google Cloud being one of them, to try and find that person. So it's a bit of like a multi-pronged approach, but really it starts with like our Google culture and just people just being so willing to support and help out. And our team just making those asks.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, mentors are really important, right, in the startup journey. So I feel like they really have all the tips that these entrepreneurs need. Kara, you were part of the Fierce Founders program. What was your experience with that at Communitech?
Yes, yeah, we were part of Fierce Founders in 2021, and I remember getting the acceptance and being so excited. We had such an excellent experience, such a supportive team at Communitech, and it was a great program for the phase that we were at that time, which was very early. We had built an initial prototype, and we were still, refining our business model and exploring our customer journey and validation concepts, and evaluating our competition and understanding the business opportunity. So Communitech was instrumental in that program. Fierce Founders was instrumental in helping us with that. I think it was over a 10-week period of time, and we were able to get a lot of support and mentorship, and specific workshops that were tailored to our growth stage.
Yeah, amazing. For Iran, have you seen any changes in the companies and the challenges that have sort of come to you over this time since Google for Startups has kind of opened?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and this is really, shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but the biggest change since, we opened our programs in 2020 has been this boom of generative artificial intelligence, Gen AI. When we first started this program in Canada, I'd say, maybe 2 or 3 companies from each cohort were building with Gen AI. They were really more so focused on data and machine learning, or they'd come to us looking for support with, product design or growth, sales, customer acquisition, that sort of thing. So now, we're seeing such a shift where every single company that we're working with is either an AI first company or are deeply, deeply working with generative AI, or they're coming to us because they really want to adopt it in their product, and so that's definitely been the biggest change and the biggest trend. And really, like, startups are so well positioned to benefit from AI. I think there's just so many benefits, just in terms of how startups work, in terms of the being able to pivot quickly and just being agile, and generative AI tools allow them to do that. And all in all, like, Gen AI is so great in helping them with their workflows in terms of automation, content creation, discovery, summarizing, all these things that really help them build more scalable products. And, of course, at Google, like, I think we're really well positioned to help them with that journey and help get them there. Another change that I've seen is just the number of Canadian healthcare startups that I see applying to our programs. And I'm not even just saying this because MedReddi, Kara is on the call, but truly, like, I have an intake open right now for our Canadian Accelerator program. And I was going through applications this morning, and, like, a majority of them are healthcare startups, which is just fantastic. It's such an important and such a real issue that affects millions of people in Canada and, of course, billions globally. So, while I'm unable to admit every single healthcare focused company that applies to the program, I'm really, really pleased with the level of support that we've been able to provide, that the ones that make it through. So, of course, Kara, MedReddi, they were just in our most recent Women Founders cohort. But we've also worked with so many others in the last 5 years. Tally AI being another one, which I believe they're also a Communitech company. So shout out to Tally. And, an interesting stat that I just pulled for you guys today is 14% of the companies that we support are in the healthcare biotech services. With so many of our Google Cloud tools such as MedPalm or MedLM or Gemini, we're able to, make a real impact for this really real issue. So that's definitely been like the biggest trend and the biggest change.
You can almost start a Google for Healthcare Startups Accelerator.
We just might. We're thinking about it.
Yeah. Actually, recently, Communitech also launched a medtech program, and we've kind of seen the same pattern where we're getting a lot of these medtech and healthcare companies just wanting help on their startup journey. So that's kind of nice to see.
Well, it's an interesting trend too, because, we've been around town here a while now, and between Toronto and here and across Canada, there's a lot of ecosystems that are supporting growing health tech, med tech, biotech startups. And sometimes it just definitely feels they don't get maybe the coverage, right? Like we hear a lot about software startups and hardware startups, but in the healthcare space, do you think there's anything behind that? Or do you think there's room to help? Like obviously Google supporting medtech startups, which is fantastic. But do you think there's room to kind of promote those more and tell like the larger story of health tech in Canada?
Definitely. I think, so many of the companies that I see are doing such great work, and, whether they're big or small, like the impact and the intention does not go unnoticed. So I think there's definitely an opportunity to do more. I love that Communitech has a dedicated program. We are thinking about doing this as well, just because of this growing trend, and just really even the level of importance that Google is putting on healthcare as well, whether it's on our healthcare and life sciences team, our Google Cloud team. There's definitely just so much importance on this, and I think with larger companies and ecosystem programs, putting together this dedicated support really allows a platform to showcase these companies more and really let these startups really support these startups, through these avenues. So I definitely think there's a lot more that can be done.
Rounded out kind of final question then for both of you, and maybe Kara, go first. What advice would you have then for startups looking to apply? Because then the deadline's coming up for this cohort, but whether it's the next cohort after, like what kind of is your top piece of advice or top 2 pieces of advice for applying?
Absolutely. I would say, go for it. Go apply and, put your best foot forward. We were so thrilled when we found out we got in, and, at first I wasn't sure, and we were just absolutely thrilled and excited that we were able to be part of the Google for Startups, community, and it is a game changer. So apply and just give it your all. Like I say, you always get what you put into the program as well. And if you can take advantage of all of the resources and the mentorship and the networking, and the learning that you can gain, you will get so much out of it, because in our case, and we were able to leverage, enterprise level LLMs, right, in specific domains, and get access to so many different mentors on how we're applying our AI and best practices and how we can improve and refine. And that is so incredibly valuable for startups. So it's a game changer, and something we would definitely highly recommend anyone, that has the opportunity to go through it.
Kara took the words from my mouth. So, of course, like a big +1, I also say apply, shoot your shot, it does not hurt, to try. Yes, we have our eligibility criteria of C to Series A, revenue generating, 5 or more employees, building with AI or machine learning. But I really can't stress enough, like there are many shades of gray to this. So I would say absolutely shoot your shot. We've had so many companies apply year over year, and like on like their 4th year, they get in. And one of the companies that actually comes to mind is BidMe, who's another Communitech, and Google for Startups Accelerator alumni. And they applied every single year since year 1, and on their 4th year, they finally got in. And that was because, every year they slightly grew and improved and had more traction and progress. So if it's something that your team is available to do, and, if you're really looking for that hands-on support from Google, absolutely apply. I will say, like, I'll echo what Kara just said. It's a big time investment. So, really be prepared to really commit and put in a lot into it. And I promise you will get so much more out of it as well. I'll just share, like, in terms of the companies that, should be consider applying, the very absolute main criteria that you must follow. Like I said, there's many shades of gray, but the absolute main criteria is that you're headquartered in Canada and building with AI or machine learning, or, intend to start building while you're in the program with us. We're not focused on a specific industry or a vertical. This specific program is intended to support, Canadian startups from coast to coast to coast. So it doesn't matter where you're located within the country, just, please do consider applying. And we're in the midst of planning, but I can share that the program will kick off the week of October 1st in Toronto. It'll be an in-person week. The cohort will get to meet their other cohort peers, of course, our Google team, some alumni that have gone through the program, and we'll have some of our mentors there as well. From there, we'll move to 8 weeks of virtual programming, and then we'll come together again in Toronto for a live demo day and graduation. And, we're currently recruiting exceptional Google mentors across a variety of product areas. But I'm also super excited to be bringing in a network of VCs and alumni founders who will act as mentors and advisors over the course of 10 weeks. So, we know that it takes a village, and we're really excited to bring together the best of our network to support this upcoming cohort.
Yeah, of course. I mean, honestly, to your point about just putting your best foot forward and applying, I mean, I feel like as a founder, you just got to be super resilient, and you got to want to tell your story, and eventually I think it'll get you somewhere.
Yeah, that is so true. It's, there is a lot of rejection that comes with, being a startup and founder, and you just have to be okay with that and believe in what you're doing, and actually, also having the data to show and support that it's a big enough problem to solve. This is the right path, and you're doing the next best thing, and making the most logical next step. And I think, another thing to add here is what Google also offered as part of this. And I think it's really important, certainly, common at enterprise companies, but just applying OKRs, objectives and key results, and KPIs, right? So identifying that at the beginning of the program to set up for success, and work with your mentors. What are your goals that you want to achieve? What are the top 3? How are you going to measure it? What does the outcome look like? And then meeting on a weekly basis with the mentors to be accountable on, the status of it and what the next step is, like taking and compartmentalizing each thing to make sure you're laser focused. And that drove a lot of value for us as well. And having that mentorship and through their, Google leadership team was really helpful to achieve our goals that we wanted to get out of the program as well.
Oh, yeah. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. In terms of applying, what's the website?
G.co Accelerator Canada. And we'll make sure that we share the link with you guys as well.
Yeah, we'll share it in the show notes too, so you can find that there. Well, thank you again for joining us on the Tech About Town podcast. Thanks for sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Take care.
congratulations on your first podcast. What'd you think?
It was good. It was really good. It was fun. I was a bit nervous, but that's okay. Nerves are good.
Nerves are good. It's an interesting one to do. Like, guests are in the studio. Very, very interesting people with a lot to say. So
yes, honestly, I learned a lot.
When we talked about Google for Startups Accelerator Program, applications are open now to the end of July 2024.
And on the Communitech side, the Fierce Founders Uplift program applications are open now until August 18th. And the Fierce Founders Bootcamp applications will be opening up in September. So keep your eyes peeled for that one.
If you want to learn more about either program and how to apply, visit communitech.ca to learn more about those programs and how to apply. That's what you do.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. That's what the website's there for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're going to thank you again for joining us on this episode of Tech About Town. As always, if you want to connect with us, you can do it on any of the major social platforms, usually at Communitech on pretty much all of them.
Yep.
I think pretty much all of them, even Threads.
Yeah.
Apparently that's still happening.
A thing. Yeah. I love Threads. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
Yeah. It's a little secret.
I got mad because you can't upload GIFs. You have to use like a little GIF thing. And I'm like, well, what do I have a Dropbox of GIFs for? If not to use them on it. So,
well, right now when you're scrolling Instagram, it prompts you to go on Threads. And they always hook me with
Someone
that.
posted a thread you might like. No, they didn't.
Oh, for me, they always did.
Absolutely. What's the guy's name? Adam Masari? What's the guy who runs Instagram and Threads? He's always posting, talking about features. I got a feature.
Did you?
Adam. No, it's let us upload GIFs.
Yeah, you tell him.
I feel like they might cut that out. We'll find out. Hey, we'll see what happens. Anyways, thanks for listening, as always.
Bye.